pills inside prison. Is that even a thing? Is it possible? And if so, can Alex Murdaugh get his hands on them? Well, to cut to the chase on that, yeah, they're definitely there. Specifically, they are in the prisons that he is currently in and that he is serving his life sentence in. I've actually been there myself, and if you don't believe me, as you can see from this footage here, got a couple guys at these same prisons in that same South Carolina prison system who are currently nodding off from the drugs. So Alex Murdaugh himself has announced that he has a massive opioid addiction. So it wouldn't be surprising if he tries to find some pills in there and get his hands on some. And I can tell you, as long as he's got at least $20 to his name, he can get some. Yeah, the price of pills always, or anything, any contraband back there in prison, it's always going to be a good bit higher than what it costs on, outside of prison. But again, if he's got at least $20 to his name, he can certainly get his hands on them. The next question you're probably wondering is, well, how do they allow, how does the prison allow this to happen? Don't they notice that they're high? Do they not do anything about it? And, because everybody knows he's got this opioid addiction, why are they not drug testing him? Or are they going to be drug testing him regularly? What's up with that? Well, here's my answer to that. Yes, they do drug test inmates, but it probably doesn't work the way you imagine it does. And so, first off, it's not like they're going to go around and, hey, Murdaugh, hey, we saw what you said on the news. Now we're on to you, buddy. We know you like your pills, so stay sharp. We will be coming around every week and testing you. They're not going to do that. I've been in there with guys, who are in there for actual drug charges. They've had so many drug charges that they got sentenced to, a good bit of prison time, and I've seen them go their whole time without being drug tested. So, it's not like just because he's had a problem in the past with pills and everybody kind of knows about it doesn't mean they're going to be banging down his door every Saturday to make him take a drug test for the rest of his life. Doesn't work like that. But that doesn't mean he'll never get drug tested. And this is how these drug tests really operate. Every 6 months or so, each prison yard within the state, handles their own drug test schedule themselves. So each yard, about every 6 months, give or take, they're going to go around with a mostly randomized inmate drug test list, a list of names, certain amount of names in each cell block, each dorm on that prison yard who are going to get drug tested. Now, usually it's random, so Alex Murdaugh's name could pop up on there. It could never pop up on there. But the thing is, if your name does pop up on there and you take a drug test and let's say you pass, you're probably not going to end up on a drug test list for at least the next several years. Because remember, they only do this every half a year. So, they're not going to focus on somebody who has proven to, at a random given time, not be on drugs. There's going to be a lot of people who fail these random drug tests, and your name, nothing can be confirmed or denied, but it's kind of funny how, those inmates' name will more likely than not end up on these random drug test lists for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And the more times you fail, you can guarantee you're probably going to be on there every time. Now, if you can go about 2, let's say you fail one and you pass the next 2 or 3, then you'll magically notice your name is not on these random drug test lists anymore. Now, aside from the random every 6 month drug testing, they will implement, targeted drug tests to a specific cell block. Maybe, let's say they come in there and they do a routine, they do a shakedown and a search of every cell in that cell block, which, they do. from time to time, or let's say they get a tip, or they have a reason to believe there's some cell phones or just something like that, and they shake down a couple cells in a cell block, and they end up finding a pretty good bit of drugs. If they find a good bit of weed, a good bit of coke, a good bit of pills, if they find if they find 2 pills in one guy's cell, they're probably not gonna drug test the whole dorm. But if they see that, well, clearly there's a large amount or a pretty decent size amount of drugs in here, enough to where it's obvious that this is being sold to other inmates, and there's probably a good handful of inmates who are gonna fail a drug test. If we come through and test, a lot of them right now, then yeah, you'll notice probably the next day after they found that stuff, boom, they pop up with a little clipboard with a bunch of names on it. So, in those times, they'll do like a more targeted, narrowed down drug test. So that's also a possibility. But yeah, he could be drug tested. He could go his whole time without being drug tested, but that would be very surprising if that happened. Now, I do lastly want to talk about, these drug tests aren't foolproof, and as you have with inmates, they're gonna figure ways to get around stuff. So, for instance, if a certain prison yard is going to start doing their routine drug testing, there may be 5, 6, 7, 8 buildings full of inmates that they have to go through, and they're probably not going to get them all done in one day, and they may start in one dorm early in the morning, and that's plenty of time for word to travel. Hey, I'm a guy who's in this building. They came to start drug testing like 15 inmates in this building. I'm not one of them, and I have to go to work. I have to leave this building to go to the kitchen to start making lunch because that's my prison job. On my way, I'm probably going to pass along the word to some inmates who are walking by. Hey, let everybody know in your cell block they're doing drug testing. They're in our building right now. They're going to come around everywhere else next. So, that's just one of many ways. Inmates are always going to know ahead of time when they're doing something like that, and that does buy them time. Maybe 30 minutes. Maybe they don't get them all done today, and maybe that it might take 2-3 days to go through all these dorms and do these drug tests. So guys will immediately, they'll go in there and announce it. Guys are going to start drinking water, who knows if that helps, to try to clean their system out. You'll have guys rushing to the inmates in there who it's widely known that they don't do any drugs, and so their urine is going to be clean and it will pass a drug test, and they will, suddenly that guy's urine becomes very valuable, and it's not uncommon for him to sell it because, hey, anything to make a few bucks. And you'll have inmates probably buying a bunch of his urine for the rest of the night, and they're going to find little containers and maybe eye drop bottles or just whatever to put it in, and they're going to do their best they're going to do their best to conceal it and go up there and be more smooth and more cunning than the officers who are administering the drug test. And just, hey, some guys get caught doing it, some guys don't. It's worth a try. If you're gonna if you're gonna fail this drug test, regardless, I guess you might as well try. All they do is just automatically fail you if you get caught trying to cheat. So, there's no reason not to. So everybody's going up there to try to, outsmart them. So that's a little bit how that works. Yes, Alex Murdaugh can get anything he wants pretty much. It's probably easier to get drugs in prison than it is outside of prison, because you don't even got to go down 3 miles down the road to the drug dealer's house. You can just go 5 feet to the cell next door and pick them up from Big D or whoever's got them. So he can definitely get his hands on it if he's got at least enough money to get some. And will he be able to continue getting away with it? Will he get drug tested? He probably eventually will get drug tested, and he may fail. But when you're in there the rest of your life, will it really matter to him if he gets caught for failing a drug test? I doubt it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it gave you some insight and some information. Make sure you subscribe, because I will be back soon with another.